I'm a little tipsy. I had some tequila. I met a cute girl tonight, which is pretty cool. Um, Not that she was into me at all, but I don't know. It was good to be normal and an adult, and this girl seemed smart and cool. And I didn't want to make it weird because she lives in this apartment complex, and I didn't want to make it weird, so I don't know. Whatever. Hopefully, I can see her again at some point, and I don't know. Hopefully, communicate at least some form of interest on my end. Oh boy. Oh god. Um, the reason why I'm recording this, I sold 2 pairs of socks today. Um, I sold 2 pairs of socks for $8 shipping. The socks cost $1.50 to purchase and ship from China, which means that if we do my total revenues, which is $8 times 2 is 16, minus my total cost of goods sold, which is 150 times 2, which is $3, then I made $15, which covers the cost of the advertisements that I made, the ad spend of today and yesterday. That's pretty good. I broke even. I mean, not considering my fixed costs, right? By any means. I'm still losing a significant amount of money. I'm losing $30 a month to the Shopify subscription, then losing, on top of that, I think it's like $45 a month is the fixed costs, and then plus, I've also run, a bunch of other ads to get some data so that I could do those sales. But, does it feel good to have 2 sales back to back? Yes, it does. It feels like I'm finally on the right track. Feels good to confirm that the video that I made, is valuable, right? Even though in this current store it's not that valuable, but with a store with a better voice and a better product and a better deal, that voice is valuable, and that's cool to me. It gives me kind of a kick in the ass to say, hey, you can do this. Go do this. Today at work was kind of fun. I did a bunch of Google Analytics stuff. It was really challenging. I didn't really know what I was doing. I had to learn a lot, and eventually I got it to work. And I also, got to make some Excel sheets and some systems to basically implement analytics for every client, right? Which is going to give every single client who's spending lots of money with us a very clear vision of hey, here's how your money is being spent. Here's the traffic that we're driving for you. Here's the value that we are giving to you. You can see it anytime you want to. And here is how you see that. I think that's really good. And it's one of those things that's a nice to have, not a we have to have, right? I mean, I think it should be a we have to have, but right now it's a nice to have, because the companies will still give us money, and then we can still look up that information and say, hey, here's how your money was being spent. But if they can look it up on their own, and they can look it up at any time, we can use that as some competitive advantage, saying, hey, here we can display the value we're doing for you. That is important. So hopefully, number one, I don't have to talk my way into the salary review that I was promised 90 days after I started, and hopefully it just happens. And then hopefully I take this next month to implement that tracking for every single client that we have, so that hopefully I can bring that up during the meeting and say, hey, look, maybe pay me some more money. Because when I start having to pay rent for this place, it's going to be scary. It's going to be, I'm still going to be okay. I'm going to be cash flow positive, right? I've also continued to play that game Cash Flow. And I'm getting pretty good at it. I can get out in, between like 10 and 40 turns, really. Which represents months, right? And I mean, it's totally ridiculous, right? Because it's like, I don't know, when you think about that, it's like, number one, it doesn't take into consideration that you can have a direct impact on the cash flow of these properties and these, like, things, right? So number one, it's like, when you start a business in that game, like, you can't actively hustle and grind to make that business more profitable. So the idea that, so that's one thing that says, okay, maybe you could do this sooner. You could do this sooner than 40 months, right? But at the same time, that game drastically simplifies, the stock market. It also drastically simplifies, real estate and getting returns, getting actual returns on real estate, which for someone who's never done that, and for someone who's never like gotten a loan, and for someone who's never actually bought a house before, it's assuming a lot of things. It's assuming you can calculate cash flow and be somewhat accurate. It's assuming that you can go and find tenants within a relatively short amount of time. I think I can find tenants in a relatively short amount of time. Here's my thing, is that if I start investing in real estate, I would like to validate those assumptions before I put down $10,000 and before I put down, hey, I'm going to get a mortgage with a monthly payment, right? Before I do any of that, I would like to work for someone who does real estate and say, hey, cool, let me put someone in your rental property. I will use whatever platforms you want me to, where I can hopefully do either programmatic ad buying or I could run Google ads, whatever. If we're down to Google ads, I could run Google ads for a home, I suppose. But I want to validate that I can, number one, do all the financing, with the bank, so that I can get an accurate idea of the expenses that would go into buying a rental property. Number two, I want to get an accurate idea of what it's like to put someone in the rental property so you can actually generate income, and what it's like to like manage that whole person and like that whole living situation and process. And number three, what else am I missing here? The like spotting a deal that has decent cash flow, and actually like buying a house, because I don't know anything about that. So I'd love to shadow. If I could shadow somebody, I could do semi-pro photography for them and make videos for them and basically, help them with every area of their business. But before I start doing it on my own, I would like to help somebody else do it. I was sitting in a subway today, reading a book, The Art of Not Giving a Fuck, or something. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck is what the book is called. There's a chapter in that book called You Are Not Special. And I think that is a very good chapter. I first read that book and I got upset. It said that, you are not going to do anything that anybody else, like, I think it's ideas that I've had myself, but to see them and to see them in a critical way like that, like, you are not special, being told you are not special. You are entitled and you are conceited, right? Like, it had this passage where it was like, there are a lot of people either constantly victimize themselves or they constantly brag. And he talks about this style of person that floats between those two things, victimizing themselves, complaining, oh, the world is weighing on me and I'm a victim. And then also the other side, which is, talking about these big grandiose ideas. That resonated with me a lot, because I feel like I'm either doing, in a lot of these videos, I think you could go back through and say, Noah's victimizing himself. Noah's saying that he's lonely and he's not taking responsibility for it. Noah's saying that all of these things are happening to him. Or Noah's bragging. Noah's bragging about his business, right? I mean, I guess at the beginning of this video, you could say that I was bragging. Anyway, I also like apologizing. I caught myself today apologizing, and I realized that I didn't understand why I was apologizing, right? And it's like you don't need to apologize for existing. And even more than that, right? Not only is the idea that it's okay to exist, right? The idea, it's like, I know I'm competent. I'm not insecure, right? I don't need to be insecure. I know that, I can add things of value, and I know that the choices that I make, I made rationally. So the idea that I need to apologize if I ask someone for help for some of the rational choices that I made for either the good of the organization or because, for the good of whatever situation, I don't need to apologize for those things. So, I don't know. It was just weird to see myself do that today, and then I still kept doing it because I had the momentum of apologizing. And it's like, if I just framed that situation differently, I wouldn't have to feel so shitty. I don't know. I know I talked very quickly. I am a little drunk, but those are all my thoughts at 9:41 on Tuesday, March 19th, 2019.